Good afternoon, everybody. I am Dr. Raman Bodula. I am a senior endocrinologist working in Yashoda Hospital, Secunderabad unit. Diabetic patients in general, they have more tendency to get infection in general because diabetes itself will reduce the immunity level in the body. This is more so in diabetics whose sugars are not under control. So uncontrolled diabetes will reduce the immunity level, the ability of the body to fight infection. So diabetics in general are prone to get any infection, not specifically coronavirus infection, but any kind of infection can be acquired commonly by diabetics because of the lower immunity levels. See, coronavirus infection, once the diabetic patient gets this infection, then the effect of the virus infection can be more severe in diabetics because as I mentioned, diabetics will have lower immunity level, and this is more so in uncontrolled diabetics. Those sugars are not controlled, so their immunity can be even more affected by their uncontrolled diabetes. So because of this effect, once the virus enters the body of a diabetic patient, it can be more severe, it can cause more severe infection, it can spread more rapidly in the body, and because basically it is a respiratory infection, it can cause more severe infection in the lungs, affecting the lungs oxygen carrying capacity, lowering the oxygen saturation. So that can lead to a severe condition called ARDS, acute respiratory distress syndrome. So not only the lungs, but it can also affect the other major organ systems like kidney, liver, and severe blood infection can come. So the effect of the infection once it enters the body can be devastating, more severe in diabetics. So not only this diabetes, but we have seen during this COVID season that there are other factors also which will impact the severity of infection, like the elderly people more than 60 years, and those who have hypertension, that is blood pressure, and any heart disease. So existence of these factors, elderly individuals, diabetes, hypertension, and heart disease, these four factors, those who carry these factors, they are at high risk of severe infection of the virus, causing multiple organ failures, including the risk of death. So if we compare the mortality rate, it is the risk of death due to this infection, the general population, the risk of death is around 2 to 3%. That is 2 to 3 people in 100 it can cause death in 2 to 3 people in the general population, this virus infection. But if you compare this in diabetics, this can be up to 8 to 10%. So the mortality rate, the death risk is more in diabetics. So because the severity of infection is more, and it can spread more rapidly and cause more devastating complications, including death. So basically we need to understand how this coronavirus spreads. Then we can understand the precautions to be taken. So generally the coronavirus is a respiratory virus. It spreads basically by two ways. Mainly, firstly, the virus can be shed from a person who is already harboring the infection, who is already suffering from the infection. They can shed the virus out by these body secretions, mainly the nasal secretions when they sneeze, and through the cough secretions. When they cough, then they release this virus in their secretions. So this virus can be released from the body in a droplets, and these droplets can remain in the air for few hours. So when you are near a person who is already suffering from the infection, when their droplets, the cough or sneeze droplets, fall onto your face, then this virus can directly enter your body through either eyes, nose, or mouth. So that's one of the way how virus enters the body. And the other way is the most common way how this virus is spreading in the community is through surface contact. When the viral secretions, the patients who are suffering from the virus infection, when they shed these virus through their secretions, the droplets, they fall on different surfaces like chairs, tables, furnitures, railings, the lift doors or knobs, the washroom areas, the door knobs. So these are the various surfaces where the virus, when it falls in the surfaces, it can remain alive for 2 to 3 days. When the virus falls on the fabrics, the clothes, it can remain alive for 1 day. So when the normal person, either diabetic or any other person who touches these surfaces, then the obviously the virus gets onto the hands or fingers. And when we touch our hands and fingers, when we touch with these fingers, when we touch the facial parts like either the eyes or nose or mouth, then the virus can enter easily into the body and that can cause infection. So these are the ways. That is why we need to take precautions. So what are the precautions? So diabetics should try to go out of the house, because in this period when the virus is spreading rapidly across the society, that is why the government has taken the measures to lock down entire country. So avoid going out to the crowded places or gatherings. And if you need to go, you always wear a mask, face mask. So face mask basically helps to prevent in 2 ways the infection. When you are near a patient who is suffering from infection, if you wear face mask, the droplets which come from that person's secretions can be prevented to enter your nose or mouth if you wear a mask. And also, when you touch a surface which is having a virus with your hand, and if you have a mask, it will prevent the entry of the virus when you touch your hands, your facial parts. So wearing the face mask is very, very important. When you go out, maintain social distance. At least 1 meter distance you should maintain with others while talking and interacting. And always practice hand hygiene. Frequently wash your hands using a soap water or an alcohol-based sanitizer. So frequently wash your hands and try to take care to avoid touching your hands and fingers with your facial parts, especially the eyes, nose and mouth, because these are the entry points of the body for virus to enter into the body. So avoid touching your hands with your face. So wearing the face mask, social distancing, frequent hand sanitizing, washing, and avoid touching your hands with face. These are the 4 basic general precautions to be observed by everybody, including diabetic patients, which will help in preventing the infection. So apart from the general precautions, diabetics need to take special precautions also to prevent the infection. So these are the most important of them is the diabetes control. So improve your diabetes control. As I mentioned earlier, the uncontrolled diabetes will reduce the body's ability to fight the infection, any infection. So the immunity level will be low. So improve your diabetes control basically. This is done by taking the medication regularly, whether it is insulin or tablets. Take the help of your regular treating physician through the phone or through teleconsultation. Take their advice, appropriately adjust the dose, and start doing blood sugar monitoring also at home using a glucometer. So you can monitor the blood sugars, the fasting sugars and postprandial sugars. So ideally you should maintain the fasting sugars between 100 to 120 milligram per deciliter, and postprandial sugar should be maintained between 140 to 180 milligram per deciliter, at least 200 below 200 is ideal. So do diet control and do some physical exercise within your home premises. So diet, exercise, and adjust the doses of the drugs, and monitor the blood sugars and adjust the doses to maintain the blood sugars in these ranges. So improvement in the blood sugar control is the most important measure, specific measure, which will help to prevent the diabetic patient to acquire the infection. And even if you acquire infection also, it will, your body can fight the infection effectively. That is one thing. Then take plenty of water to prevent dehydration, especially this is a summer season. So take plenty of water and liquids to prevent dehydration. Also try to improve your immunity levels by taking the micronutrients. The various micronutrients which have been shown to improve the immunity level are these vitamin C, vitamin D and zinc. So vitamin D is plentifully available in various fruits. The fresh fruits, citrus fruits can be taken every day. And vitamin D is available as a capsule or sachets. So you can take vitamin D, different preparations are available. 60,000 units capsules as well as sachets are available. You can take the sachet with milk once in a week or capsule once in a week for about 8 weeks. Then after that, continue every month to maintain the levels. Because vitamin D doesn't come in the food. It comes only from the sunlight, which is not sufficient for us to get exposed to get adequate levels of vitamin D. So you have to take supplement. Similarly, zinc, another vitamin. So zinc multivitamin capsules are available. So you can take one multivitamin capsule every day. So vitamin C, D, and zinc are useful and have been shown to improve the immunity levels, which can help in preventing the infections. So these things can be added. And not only these, we improve the mental health also. So practice yoga, meditation to improve your mental health. So these are the specific precautions taken by all diabetic patients. So a diabetic patient, when he gets any symptoms of viral infection like fever, cough, and sore throat, because this viral infection, usually the most common symptoms are fever, cough, and sore throat, and body aches, myalgias. So in 80% of the people, this infection is mild and they ultimately recover for a period of 2 weeks' time. Only in 10 to 15%, the infection is severe enough to get admitted, or less than 5%, they require ICU admission. So the symptoms are mild, like fever, cough, and sore throat. Don't panic. So you get in touch with your regular physician over phone or physically. Then you take necessary advice from them, take symptomatic measures, and be at home for at least 14 days because it takes at least 2 weeks time to recover from this virus infection. So isolate yourself in the home, preferably stay in a separate room with attached bathroom, and wear mask always throughout the day to prevent your secretions coming out so that it will infect the others in the house. So maintain social distance from other family members, at least 1 meter distance, and follow frequent hand hygiene, frequent hand washing. So these are the measures you should take at home till you recover. If the infection is mild, symptoms are mild, these are sufficient along with the advice taken from your regular physician. Take those medicines and measures, and which will help to recover over 2 weeks time. But if the infection, the symptoms are more severe, the fever, cough increases, and if there is any sign of breathlessness, this sign of breathlessness is a symptom of very severe illness. When the infection becomes more severe in the lungs, it can interfere with the oxygen carrying capacity in the blood. So that can cause breathlessness. So that's a sign of severe infection. So you should not hesitate to go to the hospital or physician, which needs testing, and it may require admission also because it needs admission and observation in the ICU for the oxygen saturation levels, and they may need oxygen supplementation also along with the other treatment which can be given by the physicians who are available in various hospitals. So any severe symptom and especially breathlessness, these are the symptoms when you should consult immediately and get admitted in the hospital for appropriate treatment to recover from the infection. So the doctors have been treating with various drug combinations. See, the different drugs which are being used to treat COVID-19 infection is mostly the hydroxychloroquine, the anti-malarial drug, which has been shown to improve the patient condition, and the other drugs which include the azithromycin antibiotic and some steroids, and the other drugs like antiviral drugs are also there. So these are the various drugs which have been used in combination in different patients depending on the symptoms, depending on the severity of the illness. These hydroxychloroquine, azithromycin, steroids, and antiviral drugs are being used across the world to treat these patients with variable success rates. And recently, the convalescent plasma is also being used. The patients who have recovered from the virus infection, they will develop antibodies to the virus. So their blood contains antibodies to the virus. So that can be used to treat patients who have severe infection. So this is called convalescent plasma treatment. So patients who have recovered from the infection, their blood can be taken, plasma can be isolated, and this plasma can be injected into a patient who is suffering from severe infection of the COVID-19 infection. So because this serum or plasma contains antibodies to the virus, it can utilize the virus immediately, and it is helping them to recover fast, even from complications also. Those who are very severely ill in the ICUs requiring ventilator support, it has been shown to improve the condition of the patient. So these are the various treatment options which are currently being used across the various countries by the doctors with variable success. But there is no specific antiviral treatment developed or it found to be useful for treating this infection. So we have to treat in multiple ways: the general measures and the combination of various drugs which I mentioned, along with the ICU care. If the patient has severe infection and breathlessness causing severe infection of the lungs, they may require ventilatory support also. So these are the various measures which are being used to treat this infection now. There are no specific drugs to prevent COVID-19 infection, but the drugs which are being used to treat the COVID-19 infection, one of them is hydroxychloroquine, which is an anti-malarial drug, has been found to be useful in preventing the infection, but this is not recommended for all people. The Ministry of Health, Government of India has advised to take these medicines for only two categories of patients. One is the healthcare personnel, the doctors, nurses, and paramedical staff who are being involved in treating these COVID-19 patients in the hospital setup, because they have risk of getting the infection from the patient. So this drug is being recommended for them. And the second category of patients is the patient is already there in the house, family. So the other family members are at risk of getting the infection from the person. So the family members of a patient with coronavirus infection also can take this drug, the hydroxychloroquine, to prevent infection. This is called prophylactic treatment. So this drug is being recommended for these two categories of patients, but they should not be taken on their own. They should be taken with the advice of a physician, because it requires some monitoring also, because it has some side effects which need to be monitored regularly by the treating doctor. Thank you very much. So I think I have covered the various advices which will help in preventing the virus infection, the various general measures and specific measures to be adopted by diabetic patients to avoid coronavirus infection and to help them recover from the infection. Thank you.